Hey UConn Nation, it's KK Arnold here. If you're looking for the latest UConn women's basketball content, go subscribe to Listen Up to Phil and Ryan. Go Huskies!
Listen up, Phil and Rye. Big, huge win tonight for UConn as they return home for Nika Mule's homecoming game. Let's get straight into the game recap. Another unique starting lineup tonight. Nika Page, Aaliyah Edwards. We're joined by two freshmen, KK and Ashlynn. Both teams got off to a quick start. Really fast-paced game to start out. UConn and Ball State exchanging buckets back and forth. But I really want to highlight Ashlynn Shade, the freshman. Incredible game tonight from her. I'm sure we'll talk about her a lot in tonight's game recap. She scored 8 points in the first 4 minutes of the game, including 2 3-pointers. All the starters scored buckets in the first quarter. And when Aubrey and Cadence came off the bench, they also scored right away. It was good to finally see UConn get out to the kind of start we are used to seeing. Madeline Bischoff for Ball State scored 12 points for the Cardinals, thanks to her 4 3-pointers. But unfortunately, at the end of the first quarter, with only about 30 seconds left, she stepped on a teammate's foot and injured her ankle. She did not return to the game, unable to put any weight on it. So hopefully for her and Ball State, hopefully she's okay. Huge loss for Ball State tonight, and hopefully she's not out for any games remaining for Ball State, but huge loss for them tonight, especially with the way that UConn was shooting the ball. But the Huskies scoring a season high 37 points in the first quarter, leading Ball State by 16 at the end. Second quarter, UConn continuing to put up a lot of shots, but unfortunately couldn't really keep that hot streak going. Kind of struggled to score a little bit, but I'd rather see them get out a lot of shots other than turn the ball over, which something they still struggled a little bit tonight. 17 turnovers, still a little high, but I must say Ball State's offense, they're pretty good as well. And of course, I can't go without saying and bringing up Hannah Mule for Ball State. Perfect from the field in the first half, 6 points. She played really great tonight. Scored more points than Nika did, so I'm sure they'll talk about that after the game. But she played a lot of minutes, and I think she deserves to play a lot more minutes for this Ball State team. Enjoyed seeing her and Nika guard each other on a couple possessions and just see them guard each other out there on the same court in front of their family. But I mentioned the Huskies struggled to score a little bit in that second quarter. Didn't last too long. They ended the quarter on an 11-0 run in the final 5 minutes of the first half to lead Ball State 52-30 at the half. And I had to bring this up real quick because you know how they usually interview Gino at the end of halftime. Gino at the half, the reporter Chelsea Sherrod asked Gino how UConn can fix a couple of defensive mistakes that we saw. And Gino's answer was Home Depot, Lowe's. They must have something I can fix it with, right? You just gotta love Gino and his
I
humor.
can
It's
hear it now on NFL Sundays, right? Like the Home Depot keys to the game, Ryan.
it's Gino's humor is just really unmatched. But second half, much slower start from both teams. Not sure if UConn was fatigued, but their offense didn't look the same. Little more standing around. Not enough urgency again. And I think that's something UConn has to work on moving forward, is being more consistent throughout the game. It's great to score 37 points in one quarter, playing almost a perfect quarter offensive wise, but they need to continue a more consistent pace throughout the game and not let off the gas. But the Huskies did have a better end to the quarter. Paige got involved a little bit more, and Ashlynn went on another run by herself, a 5-0 run to end the third quarter and the final quarter of the game. UConn a little sloppy, but with the ball, let up some easy shots. And another thing, I think if you nitpick this game, that's something as well that UConn can work on a little bit. Still feel like they're letting up too many easy shots from their opponents, but UConn, can improve their defense moving forward. But tonight, the best overall game I'd say we saw from UConn in quite a while this season, defeating Ball State 90-63.
All right, thank you so much, Ryan. Busy evening on this side of town, so I appreciate you doing that for me. First of all, I say keys to, what did I say? Home Depot, keys to success or whatever it was. It's actually tools to success. Home Depot known for their tools, not keys. So there goes my audition, Ryan, thrown out the window. I'm done. So no, man, look, this is really the kind of Huskies basketball. I'm glad that, it caught my ear right away. I'm glad you mentioned 37 points in the
Yeah.
first. Okay. That doesn't happen on accident when, guess what? You're hot behind the 3-point line, right? So as soon I was listening, coming home, right, on the radio, and as soon as I heard, and it's Ashlynn Shade from deep downtown, bang, it didn't go like that. But yeah, I mean, and I thought, oh my goodness, Ryan, I thought, this is arguably already one of the best, if not the best freshman class in 2023-24. So I'm like, and then all of a sudden I hear KK Arnold driving to the rim, because they're guarding outside. They're not expecting KK to do it by herself.
Yeah.
Hats off to that. And then you have Caden Samuels from where? From downtown. So yeah, Brian, I mean, I talked about it, and it's just really, it's going to make me, I mean, look at the time that you have right now, Eastern time, 9:13, right? It's almost bedtime. That means Phil, I don't know about Rye, Phil is going to sleep a lot better tonight than he has the past week. I know this is just one win, Ryan, but this really felt good. I mean, to score 90 against actually a very respectable, very good Ball State team. You said it. I'm glad you say that. Let's shout out to the Mule family tonight. I don't know if mom or dad had on. Mom and dad both had on different jerseys or different shirts. One had UConn on, one had Ball State on. So I know Nafisa Collier was in the house, right, Ryan? They said throwing out T-shirts. So beautiful night up in UConn. Again, 90-63. I want to go over very quickly, Ryan. You said that I know you're relying on me this for the post-game interview, and you're relying on me to talk it up about Ashlynn Shade, and why not? I want to also mention, Ryan, how about what's your take on Aaliyah Edwards with her 18th career double-double tonight for UConn? And 5 players in double figures. I had noted down here balance, and that's very fitting, a fitting word, because Ryan, you're not just relying all of a sudden. And Paige Beckers, she early foul trouble for her. What was it? 2 fouls on her early. Very unusual, but again, still. If I had to recover from a year off injury, I wouldn't even be back on the basketball court, to be honest with you. So let's not jump to conclusions here. Just so she's picking up, getting better and better towards March, that's a big plus there. She doesn't, and again, with this word balance, it goes to show, man, it doesn't have to be all Paige Beckers for a change. And that's what I like tonight out of UConn.
Yeah,
Ryan
yeah.
also
I mean,
down. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, definitely wanted to point out Aaliyah Edwards, of course, getting her first double-double that you mentioned of the season tonight. 18 points, 12 rebounds to go along with 3 steals. And, of course, Ashlynn Shade, I believe, scoring a career high for UConn, of course, season high, 17 points, 3 3-pointers as well. Paige, she did pick up those 2 early fouls, for Paige there, but she did end up scoring 15 points. So good job for her to recover and started to get back into that second half and contribute a little bit. Aubrey Griffin as well had a quiet second half, but in the first half she did contribute a lot. And I would say throughout the game she played really solid defense. 4 rebounds, 14 points for Aubrey coming off the bench, and Caden Samuels as well, 11 points coming off the bench from her. And like you said, KK, another solid performance. She did get the start tonight, and like you said, balance and just a good overall team win is basically what I was waiting for and looking for out of this team. Paige doesn't always have to do it all, and I think teams are trying to really take the ball out of her hands, and that forces the other players for UConn to step up and contribute. And I really think that's when UConn is playing their best basketball, is when everybody can come together for this team and get a good team win. And to see everybody contribute tonight was definitely really fun to watch.
Yeah, it wasn't a one-dimensional score. It wasn't one-dimensional scoring tonight, and that's a good thing. I had down here. I know from the Ashlynn Shade interview on the radio, Ryan, a couple notes. She goes, she said that she knew that they could make an impact. She sees it in practice and in games now. And then she goes on to say the focus on moving the ball around more, being aggressive, boxing out, getting rebounds, fast transition points. Ryan, that's a big key tonight. Fast transition points tonight. And then Nika Mule, I already told you, is the heart and soul of this team. We already know that well enough, right? And then special night for the Mule family, like I mentioned. Yeah, so Ryan, let's get on to the comments very quickly. Let's see what's trending here on Listen Up. Jason D'Amico goes, there is no scenario in which UConn is better off with Paige Beckers on the bench. If Paige is not producing, it is because the coaching staff has not prepared a good enough offensive scheme. It is absurd to think this team is better off with freshmen on the floor without Paige to guide them. We are about to find out the character of this team in the next few weeks. Peace, fellas. Well, for once now, hopefully Jason doesn't hop on me about this and get on my case. I kind of agree with this comment, and then I kind of don't, just because of what we saw out of the freshmen tonight. But yeah, I mean, I will 100% agree with him. This team is better with Paige on the floor. But Ryan, I mean, I don't know, man, because you have to. He talked about schemes. What you can't have. I mean, usually Paige is not out there the whole game. So with this, especially with the teams you have coming up on the schedule, don't you think that, yeah, somehow they need to find a way to get by with the freshmen on the floor?
Yeah, and it's so weird because I can't remember really a season where for any team, not just UConn, where you mentioned a freshman performing very well in every single game for every game this year for UConn.
That's why I say that. That's why, not to cut you off. That's why I say that. I'll let you finish, because that's why I just said, don't you expect UConn to get by with the freshmen on the floor? To me and to you, I don't know. I'm asking you, have they proven to you enough that they can do it?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say right out of the jump, and like I said, in every single game, we've at least brought up one, if not two, or really all the freshmen in every single game recap so far. So it's really great to see them all. I mean, especially tonight, all of them, I'd say, had a great performance. Ice Brady came off the bench, and I'd say played pretty solid as well. And for Paige, even though she did get into early foul trouble, UConn didn't really need her to play a ton of minutes tonight, which is good because she doesn't always have to play a ton of minutes and constantly be back on the floor, especially because, this is only her 8th game after missing almost 600 days. So as much rest as Paige can receive, especially for these tougher opponents coming up, is much needed for her.
Hey, how about Jessica Ortiz, Ryan? She came through and she goes, thanks for reading my comment. I'm glad I wasn't alone with being speechless. We need some more healthy bigs for UConn. I'm still a fan, though. Hey, we love you for coming through on the Listen Up podcast, and I'm sure Ryan says the same thing. Ryan, let's go down to one more. How about we haven't heard from Lindsay Matthews in a while. She goes, I agree that Ashlynn, Shade, and Cadence are really good players already. They should be getting lots more time, especially Ashlynn. Yeah, Ryan, they did tonight.
Yeah, well, she predicted that one pretty well tonight.
Yeah.
She got a lot of more minutes tonight, got the starting nod, and really took advantage of that and seized her opportunities. So that was really great to see. Really enjoyed Ashlynn. You could tell she was having really fun, especially with the student section, home crowd getting into it. Her fist bumps after she scored the bucket. So really good to see from Ashlynn. And I think the big comment for UConn, the bigs down low, not to be negative during this good win for UConn, but I think that is something that I'm still a little worried about for UConn, is when they do play these tougher teams that are bigger down low, a lot bigger than Ball State. Still a little worried about their ability to cover those teams, especially down low. But definitely a huge confidence booster tonight for UConn. So hopefully they can keep this rolling. Like I said, big month of December coming up. Still 4 really tough games remaining. So hopefully they can just keep on rolling now.
All right, I have to. I just saw this, and I'm guilty of this. Courtney, I do apologize. Hopefully, Courtney, you catch this video. Comment below if you do. You know who you are. JTH, I promised Courtney that I would shout out to Sailor. JTH3091, whoever this user is on YouTube, Ryan. Sailor Poffenbarger set a single game record for rebounds for Arkansas versus FSU this week. 13 points and 23 rebounds. UConn could use a performance like that right now, Ryan. And shout out, congratulations all the way from Maryland, Sailor Poffenbarger, Ryan, right from your high school, right down the street.
Yeah, I actually was able to watch a little bit of that game and enjoyed watching Sailor. I've been trying to catch a couple Arkansas games whenever I can. Yeah, she's been playing great. Unfortunately, she's not in a UConn jersey anymore, but she's been doing a really good job down there in Arkansas with the Frederick native Michaela Daniels as well. So Arkansas, pretty good start to the season from them. But yeah, Sailor putting up 23 rebounds, I think it was in that game. So she's been playing really good so far.
Okay, I'm just now learning that Marcia Clark is a Cleveland Browns fan, a lifelong Cleveland Browns fan. So Ryan, that's that is more than enough than we need to know. It's time to go ahead and cover the there you go. Cover the camera up, and Ryan, it's time to cut it off and go to bed. Phil and Ryan, listen up.